It's time now for the latest in K-sports, from baseball and football to golf, as we welcome our sportscaster Jason Lee back to the studio. Hello, Jason.
Hi,
Hello.
Jason.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So what's going on in the world of K-sports?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff's going on, especially in the baseball world. The KBO is breaking attendance records once again. And speaking of records, there's a new record for hitting streaks to start a season in the KBO. Sung-Mun made his MLB debut in soccer. Kang-in scored a goal this weekend. And I'll update you on how the Koreans did at the LPGA's first major of the year.
Can't wait for all the details, but why don't we start with the records at the KBO? And I think the stress should be on there are records made again.
Yeah, especially coming with attendance. This has been an ongoing thing for the last few years, and certainly, yeah, it really does seem like every year, every month, we're talking about the KBO breaking attendance records. So maybe they'll break the season attendance record once again this year. As for now, the record that I'm talking about is that the league set a new record for fewest games needed to get to 2 million fans. Now, this happened this weekend after the league's 117th game, whereas it took 118 games last year when they broke the record. Now, earlier in the month, the KBO also posted their fastest season to 1 million fans as well, so the momentum is definitely there. And the league is currently averaging 17,913 fans per game. That's compared to 16,596 last year, and more than half of the games this year have been sold out already. So once again, KBO tickets are a hot commodity, very, very difficult to come by. I've actually tried to buy tickets online a few times. No luck.
Wow, sellouts really seem to...
Even for me.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And especially the weekend tickets as well.
Weekend tickets are impossible.
It's impossible. Yes,
Yeah.
basically
But
it's impossible.
even the weekday tickets have been tough to get as well,
Yes,
surprisingly.
I can't say whether K-pop stars are more popular these days or KBO teams.
It's tough.
It's definitely
It's a fair comparison for sure.
Right, even at similar venues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And now the attendance isn't the only record-breaking thing happening in KBO. So you've said there's hitting streak record that you've mentioned earlier. So please tell us about that as well.
Yeah, a little bit of a surprising name, I might add. SSG shortstop Park Sung-Han. He's actually one of my favorite players. He started the season with a hit in every game up until this past Saturday. That was a 22-game hitting streak to start the season, which breaks the previous mark of 18 games. That dates all the way back to the inaugural KBO season back in 1982. So it's been a record that has stood for a while. That was by Lotte's Kim Young-hee, by the way. As for the longest hitting streak, regardless of the start of the season, that's 39 games by Park Jung-Hoo back in 2003-2004. Meanwhile, Samsung third baseman Ryu Ji-hyuk has the longest active streak, which is now at 16 games. So getting up there, but it's still not even half of the 22-year-old record that's still standing. I might also mention that those two guys, both Park Sung-han and Ryu Ji-hyuk, no surprise, they lead the KBO in batting average right now with 451 and 396 respectively. So they're both doing great.
Very, very impressive. And before we move to overseas baseball, you've also got some other impressive KBO stories.
Yeah, there's a few other interesting stories, especially with the younger players that I do want to bring up. I absolutely love talking about Kim Do-young, right? And I'll quickly mention that he is leading the league in home runs with 8 already. But as mentioned, an interesting story to watch for is Park Jun-sun. Now, he's still just 19 years old. I mean, he was just in high school a couple years ago. He had a solid rookie season last year. And after being drafted in the first round by Tucson the year before, right now he's third in batting with a .389 average and 3 home runs already. So maybe he's on the verge of a superstar breakout. We'll have to see. Also, his teammate, Min-suk, who was drafted in the second round by Tucson back in 2024, is among the pitching leaders with a 1.82 ERA and a 3-0 record. Also, as a 19-year-old. So while Doosan, they're not doing their best in terms of the standings. They're currently 10, 14, and 1. But you might say that they've so far been the envy of the 2024 draft class with these two youngsters that are doing great. One other thing I'll quickly mention is, speaking of draft picks, Park Jun-hyun, he was the first overall selection in the KBO draft last year, and he made his debut this past Sunday. And talk about a debut. 5 innings pitched, allowing just 4 hits and 4 walks while striking out for no runs allowed. He was credited with the win as well, and his Kium Heroes blanked the Samsung Lions 2-0. So here's another youngster, 3 youngsters certainly worth watching for throughout the course of this season.
Wow. And speaking of debuts, now we're going to go to the Major League Baseball. And Sung-Mun made his debut in Mexico City.
He did. It was a brief one, but it still counts. And yeah, absolutely. You know, Major League Baseball came to Korea to start the 2024 season, and they're holding like a similar series in Mexico City right now between the San Diego Padres and the Arizona Diamondbacks. So Sung-Mun started the season on the injured list with an oblique injury, and he was sent to AAA until a roster spot would open up. But with this series in Mexico, it's in another country, so MLB is allowing a 27th player on their roster, which Sung-Mun was called up for. So he played in Sunday's game as a pinch runner, so he is yet to swing a bat or field a ball. And, you know, after the game, he actually did immediately get sent back down to the minor leagues. But you could say he's got a cup of tea in the big leagues, and maybe that will motivate him to really show him that he belongs with the big league club.
We'll keep an eye out for him as well. And let's talk about other MLB baseball players, Korean baseball players, Jung-Hoo and also Hye-Seong as well. So how are they doing in the league right now?
Actually, both of them have been red hot as of late. The past couple of weeks have been really good. Jung-Hoo just went 4 for 5 for his 3rd straight multi-hit game, raising his batting average to .313. And he also returned to the leadoff spot for that game after hitting mostly 6th for much of the season. As for Hye-Seong, he's been filling in for Mookie Betts, and he just had a 3-game multi-hit streak as well. His average is now at .319 with 1 home run. Jung-Hoo also just hit his 2nd home run this past weekend as well. And one other quick thing I'll mention is that Go-Suk was sent down to AA from AAA Toledo on April the 8th. Now, since then, he has been lights out with 15 strikeouts in just 9 2/3 innings without allowing a run and allowing just 3 hits and 2 walks along the way. The thing is, though, his KBO team, the LG Twins, they recently lost their closer, Yoo Young-chan, to an injury. It sounds like that's going to require surgery. So the rumor is that the Twins have been in communication with Go-Suk, perhaps about coming back to close later in the season. I did mention a few weeks back that, you know, I expect perhaps for Go-Suk to come back to Korea at some point. It looks like it might be a possibility, but at the same time, he's been doing so well at AA. It's got to be a really, really tough decision for him on what he's going to do.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I know. Please keep us updated with that as well.
Will do.
And also, we want to talk about a player that's actually coming back from the States, MLB. It's Choi Ji-Man. He's coming to Korea to play for KBO from the Major League Baseball. He's been playing in the MLB for several years now. So what's the update with him?
Yeah, this is an interesting situation that's somewhat rare. So Choi Ji-Man, his case is different because, as you mentioned, he's never played in the KBO. In fact, he was never drafted by a KBO team because he went overseas straight out of high school. So he's played parts of 8 years in the majors, mostly for Tampa Bay, but he wants to play in the KBO now. The thing is, if you start your career outside of Korea as a Korean, you have to wait 2 years to be eligible to join a KBO team. So Choi Ji-Man started his mandatory military service in 2024. 2024, but he was actually discharged just 3 months later because of a knee injury. So now he is signed with the Ulsan Whales of the Future League, and he'll be eligible for the KBO's draft this summer. So we should be able to see him in the KBO perhaps at some point next season. Hopefully his knee injury will be fine by then, and I'm sure he'll be able to contribute right away. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kium took him with the first overall draft pick or something like that. So we'll see.
All right, now, Jason, we've got so many stories about baseball today, but let's shift over to football and let's go to Europe. Kang-in scored a goal.
He did, and this was an absolute beauty. He deked out the keeper right at the doorstep and then had an easy tap in for a nice goal. He also assisted on another goal from a corner kick for PSG. So he's been looking great and actually been receiving a lot of attention from other teams, perhaps in the summer transfer window as well. I'll also quickly mention that Son Heung-min did not play LAFC's last game as they're starting to rest him a little bit more as they've got some other important games coming up as well. So you can take that for what you will. Meanwhile, Wolverhampton will be relegated for next season. So if Hwang Hee-chan stays with them for next season in the EFL Championship, it is possible that Korea might not have a single player in the Premier League next year, although there are still rumors that Lee Kang-in is receiving a lot of interest from various teams in the Premier League as well. So we'll see where he ends up if he's transferred at all. But yeah, it's possible that we don't have a Korean in the EPL next year.
And speaking of Lee Kang-in, I heard that there were actually speculations that Lee Kang-in and Kim Min-jae, so from Bayern München, I want to say it in the German way, Bayern Munich, that they could actually face each other in the Champions League semifinals, but I guess that is not the case, which Koreans would love to see, though.
Yeah, I mean, first off, if they were to meet in the semifinals, then obviously one of them is going to the finals, right? You get a guarantee of that. So, yeah, it would have been nice, but unfortunately not the case as mentioned. But, you know, still two very good players on two very good teams, and, you know, they're going to have many opportunities to go far in that tournament in the future as well.
Of course.
And we also have World Cup coming up, so that's something to look out for all soccer fans as well. And we're going to end with golf. So can you please give us an update on how Koreans did on the first LPGA? Right?
Major.
Yeah, LPGA, yes. Major, yes.
First major of the LPGA season. Of course, we've had 3 championships won by Koreans already. But, you know, Nelly Korda was the big winner this time, taking the event by 5 strokes in a wire-to-wire victory. The top Korean was Yoon In-na, who finished in a tie for 4th. She was 6 strokes behind. Kim Yo-ju was a distant 6th place finisher, while Ryu Hye-ran and Hwang Yu-min tied for 12th. So as mentioned, Koreans, we got 4 of them in the top 12 there, 3 championships already, and this is just the first major, so 3 more to come later this year. I'm sure we'll hopefully get one of them at least from Korea.
Hopefully, pretty solid so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much, Jason, for your updates, and looking forward to next time.
Thank you, Jason.
And thank you, Bella, as always. We're going to see you here very soon.
Yes, I'll see you back soon.